Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me here today. A lot of people have asked me where I find the inspiration to make my videos. The answer is that I spend a disgusting amount of time online. Usually whenever a story starts trending or a conversation starts happening, I'm right there with it and it inspires me to add my own perspective to the conversation. This time, I was in the middle of writing a script about a story that had happened when a second similar story happened, and before I could decide whether I wanted to add it to the original video or just make two videos, a third story broke out, all revolving around something similar. So in this video, I will be covering all three topics and talking about how these three stories are connected. I don't know why I'm pretending that there's a big reveal here. You've all read the title, but it's too late now, so let's begin. Everyone's favorite LA makeup influencer, James Charles, recently received yet another grooming allegation, and this one seems to be the final nail in the coffin. I've spoken about James and these allegations before, but my previous assumption was that he's not intentionally trying to text underage boys, he's just trying to make the talking stage easier by texting fans of his who already like him. However, and I can admit this, I was wrong. It's actually both. Yet another boy came forward with proof that he and James were engaging in conversations over text and Snapchat that James then tried to make sexual, and then got extremely defensive when he didn't get what he wanted. The proof of these allegations pushed the conversation so far that James Charles had to officially make an apology video addressing the situation, where he said this.
In all other areas of my life, my friends, my business, I like to think of myself as pretty put together and on top of things, and I couldn't understand why relationships were the one outlier. Why were they not working? Why was this area of me so different? And I finally came to a conclusion. It sucks and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate.
He describes his pursuing of underage boys as desperate. I'm not going to pretend that I know what dating as a celebrity is like. I'm sure it's tricky and there are parts of it that are hard to navigate. But what I do know is that you should never resort to taking advantage of a power imbalance so that you can get what you want, especially from a fan. James admits in this video that he was acting sexually towards minors. That's a full admission of a crime that he just posted on youtube.com. I don't know why that's where this story apparently stops, but as of right now, that's as far as it's gone. I have no idea why the authorities aren't involved in this, but either way, I just want to send my love and support to the victims. And unfortunately, speaking of victims, let's move on to the next story. Now we're going to be getting a little political and talking about the Florida Republican Representative Matt Gaetz. Believe it or not, Matthew here has been under some pretty serious allegations lately regarding paying a 17-year-old to fly around with him for sex, which counts as sex trafficking. As of right now, the Justice Department is currently investigating him on those sex trafficking allegations, which Gaetz is staunchly denying. He's claiming that he's the victim and that there's a larger conspiracy to take him down being orchestrated by the Democratic elites. However, Gaetz has a history of being reprimanded by his other Republican colleagues, and a lot of other Republicans are distancing themselves from him. And it doesn't help that people are digging up a lot of photos that don't exactly help his claims. There's no hard evidence that Matt Gaetz likes teenage girls. There's only this photo, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, fine, there's a lot of them. Obviously, that's creepy, at the very least. Obviously, a lot of people, like the political pundits and the Democrats, are making fun of Matt Gaetz for the hole he's digging himself into. But, they can do that. It's just kind of disturbing to see how few people are actually talking about the victims in this case. It's important to remember that these stories always have someone getting taken advantage of. I'm not saying everyone should be focusing on her, but even acknowledgement of what she's going through would be better than just using this opportunity to just make fun of another stupid politician. So here we have another person in a position of power that has been using their influence to get closer to minors. I was already reading about the James Charles story when the Matt Gaetz one popped up, and I was like, 2 stories about grooming in a row? What could be next? Danielle Bregoli became a meme when she was 13 on Dr. Phil. She was a child who was outspokenly rude, and the internet seemed to love that rebellious energy because it continued to follow Danielle as her career progressed. Danielle started beefing with other creators, starting a rap career under the name Bhad, yes, spelled like that, and upheld a rich LA superstar lifestyle which only made her more and more popular. Danielle turned 18 years old 2 weeks ago, and 6 days after she turned 18, she started an OnlyFans. She announced it through a post on Instagram promoting the site with the caption saying, "I saw your 6 million comments and now I'm answering the call." Danielle then proceeded to make $1 million in 6 hours from the amount of people subscribing to her OnlyFans. I can only speak for myself here, but seeing a figure who became popular at 13 years old and who grew up constantly in the public eye receive this much attention on her body only a week after turning 18 is extremely disconcerting. And I'm not here to shame Danielle. She is allowed to present herself however she wants, and clearly she saw an opportunity here and took advantage of it. My issue is how willing so many people are to look past the fact that she's of a legal age and focus on her body despite her being extremely young. The people who can afford OnlyFans are usually an older demographic with a disposable income. For her to hit that milestone that quickly meant a lot of people were spending a lot of money to see lewd pictures of an 18-year-old. And that doesn't sit right with me, no matter how legal American law says it is. A lot of people online said that it was pedophilic in nature to be waiting so attentively for a child to become of age so that you can legally pursue them. And I do agree that waiting for the exact minute someone turns of age is extremely creepy. So these are the 3 stories I wanted to cover this week. They each happened one after another, and it was extremely upsetting to see so many stories about men taking advantage of people younger than them. These stories are not all the same, but there is a common trend about older people getting something from minors that I do think requires a lot more focus. This is a disgusting pattern, and it's going to keep happening until we add more preventative measures against it, because there's always going to be some people who get a little bit of power and then decide to immediately abuse it. And while there's nothing about this I can do personally, I just want to send my well wishes to the victims of each of these stories, including Bhabie. She doesn't act like a victim, and she did get $1 million from it, but she is a victim of online pressure to be sexual, even if she doesn't fully realize it. My point is, let's not get distracted by the big names in these stories, and try to remember that there are real-life people who are getting hurt by their actions. And let's also not forget the victims who choose not to come forward, because their pain and suffering is just as real. If I could leave you all on a final note that you never forget, it's this. Don't groom minors. It shouldn't be that hard. It's a pretty easy message. I know most of you already know that, but come on. Thank you all for watching my little video. I seriously appreciate that. The amount of support you've all been showing me these past few weeks has been overwhelming, so from the bottom of my cold little dead heart, thank you. I hope you're all staying safe. Please continue to take care of your friends and families for me, and don't forget to also take care of yourself. That's it. I'm done here. I love you lots. Goodbye.